everybody. I'm Vineet Mittal. I'm from 1991 batch, and currently I work at Microsoft. In the past, I have worked at Sun Microsystems. Some of you may not know Sun Microsystem, but that's the company that invented Java. AT&T, I was present at AT&T in the US, and then I also worked for RSA. So for me, it's a bit of passion to teach, and for last few years, we have been making this effort to teach people, and we have had very good results. A lot of people who have learned programming or cybersecurity or Java or Python have gone on to do very well in the industry and have found very good jobs both in India and in the US. So that's just about us. And we have a motto, which is learn real well and get fabulous jobs. What is really stopping you from getting good jobs is if you don't study well, if you don't learn something well. Software is a very skill-oriented industry, and if you know something, then your salary in the market is sort of directly proportional to the knowledge that you have. Okay. So let's understand a little bit, why we are studying Python. Why is it becoming popular? There have been many other languages in the past, and Python is becoming very popular because just like Java, it is very portable. You can write it on Linux or Windows or Mac, and you can pretty much port it to other things. The real interesting thing for me, and I've been in the industry for many years, is that it has all of the things that you look for. It's object-oriented, it's procedural, it can be functional, and it has easy interface to work with if you want to call functions in C or other languages or Java or Fortran. That kind of easy interface is available. Now, this is not always true in many other programming languages. And it has a great interactive environment. Almost everything is open sourced. You can go to these URLs and you can get 3.8. We'll see in a minute. Okay, so once again, Python, the design of the Python language is really to, run everywhere. And that's the main idea with modern languages, because we no longer compile to assembly language code. What we are really doing is writing a program and converting it into byte codes, and then we can move the byte codes anywhere we want to. It is getting more interesting with the Python, the kind of functions it has. It's very logical and coherent. It's very intuitive as well. So once you get through the basics, you will realize that it's very easy to pick up and do things in it. Other thing is developer productivity. This is from company point of view. When we employ a Java engineer or when we employ a C++ developer or a Python developer, what we feel is that certain areas, for example, automation, for example, scripting, those kind of things, we have seen that Python really gets the job done really faster. And of course, some people have taken Python more and more into web development as well. And now with data science kind of problems coming in, Python also has excellent libraries for data science purposes as well. And the list of libraries is growing enormously. Now, Python is truly open source in the sense that there is no company in the world that kind of owns the rights for it. So for example, Java, the rights are owned with Oracle, or C#, the rights are with Microsoft. But with Python, it's very open sourced, and there is no real one owner of this language. And working with Python is more fun. So I saw that a lot of people who are joining are from the first year, second year. I think it's fine to start with Python. Though at some point, people who are at least studying computer science should definitely study C language so that they can understand the lower level primitives. But it's good right now to do your course. For example, if you're spending a lot of time in engineering school, it is quite okay to do your things in Python, whether you are studying data structures or compilers or what have you. Yeah. Now, in terms of who is using Python today, uh, I put a short list here, it's practically everybody right now. Google, of course, internally, after the big fight that they had with Oracle on Java, have started to move away from Java and are completely now getting into Python and other languages. Uh, so many of these things, these are some very famous names that are listed here. People are adopting Python in a very big way, even for games. But I just wanted to give you some highlight on, which are the different contexts, Uh, I would say if I had to prioritize among these things, you know, uh, web programming, rapid prototyping, data science, database applications, these are very popular. In system programming, not so much, but it's getting there. And there was a time when universities would adopt courses in Java or C to start with, but more and more universities are now starting their courses in Python as well. So that is a growing recognition that Python is becoming very successful in the market. So why study Python, especially with us? We have a fully guided program, and you can be in a good position to apply it to practical projects while learning for 4 to 6 weeks. We expect about 2 hours commitment per day. Our understanding of job market is such that uh, people expect that Java, Python, JavaScript, and C Sharp. These are four fundamental things that I think every programmer should know these days. And along with that, you should have a good hands-on skill either on Linux or PowerShell in Windows. So, so learning a language is not really the motivation. The idea is that when you work with the industry person like me, my focus is more on problem solving, also letting you sort of understand what you can do with it. And all throughout the course, you will see a lot of interesting practical problems. Today is a very basic course, but even in this basic course, you will see that today's theme is cricket. So you will see some interesting problems in cricket that we will try to solve. And through that, we will learn some programming fundamentals in a fun way. Automation and web scraping, data science, web development, these are increasingly interesting areas where Python is being applied. And our course, at least covers the fundamentals of all of these things in a very applied way. Okay. So just want to make one more point here that, uh, uh, our course here is, maybe 4 to 6 weeks long, about 1 or 2 hours every day. But it gives you an opportunity to apply the principles. So our focus is not so much on every esoteric thing inside the language, but our intention is that you gain the ability, you get that confidence that you are looking for in terms of solving day-to-day problems. This is what we have found Indian students they are struggling with because in the computer science classes it's a lot to digest sometimes, and sometimes you want to do easier things. And by you will see what I mean by easy things, and sort of have more fun along the way while you learn. That sort of gets you into a better shape. Okay. So I expect you to code today. I'll be showing you some code here, and I expect you to type it, run it, and let me know on the chat window that you have done that. Okay, so let's get started. You've done the installation. Now, let me put a file for you in the chat window. 1 second. So I'm putting up a file there. It's called 1.py, right? Now, what I'm expecting you to do is to download that file and do this. Make a directory in which you will copy this file. Let's say my directory is one that you can see here, uh, and I have this file 1.py here. So where you invoke the Python is just write Python and you can say 1.py, right? So what it will do, it will run whatever is inside the Python. But what's really happening is that it is converting, you know, the program that you have inside 1.py, interpreting it, compiling it. And these are all the steps here that you see. Let me blow it up a little bit so that you can see. And this is where the compiler is actually trying to read this file. And this step called bytecode is what makes it possible to run it across multiple machines. So I will show you another command, python -m compile all. And dot stands for current directory. So once I press that, yeah, fine, it has some issues. But what it does is, it has actually created an interesting directory for me. You can have a look at it. It's called cd_py. Sorry, 1 second. py cache. And inside this file, inside this directory, it has actually generated the bytecode for all the Python files that I have. So if you like, you can check it out and let me know if you're able to see that. Okay, looks like there are some questions. Okay, so hope everybody got this file. Oh, sorry. Did I send this file to one person or 1 second? Yeah, I sent this file to everybody. So my question is, were you able to compile it and run it? Okay. So what kind of issues are you facing if you were not able to compile it? I'll show the process again. No, I have uploaded a file. Please see in the chat window. It is called 1.py. I'm sending it again.
No one will message their name in the group.
It is there in the chat window, right?
Yes, sir. It is there.
Okay. So some people are still saying that they cannot download it. I don't know why. But it's clearly there
Guys,
on
check
the...
again. Check again. The file is there.
Please scroll in the Zoom group chat window. You will see the file. Can somebody at least confirm he got it?
Download the file from chat window.
Okay. Somebody got it. Anna got it. Okay, if you just scroll in the window, you will see the file because some people are able to see it. Yeah, Nikhil got it. Akash got it. Okay. All right. Thank you. So once you get the file, put it in some directory in your uh, Yeah, maybe what we can do on the organizing side is, create a Google Drive and just send that link and upload that file there.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, we will also put it on a Google Drive so that you can take it from there. But basic idea was that, you can do something like this, right? You can type Python space 1.py. And I want these people to do it on command line first, and then we switch over to the IDE. Okay, let's give our organizers a minute before they can upload it to a. Okay, so that was that. The other way is that if you have got Python installed, what you can do is, if you write on Windows command, you can invoke this program called IDLE. It comes with Python 3.8, and if you open, you will be able to see the IDE, right? What I have is here is an IDE, right? That 1.python is what I am displaying here, right? This is what is written in 1.python. And what I do is I go here, run, and I say run module, and the file runs in this window here, right? Okay, so that's how the IDE is. So if you go to IDE and you can open like this 1.py in this window here and go to run menu and just say run, and it will run it, and you will see the result here. Again, so again in the command window, you have to type like this, Python. If you focus on the screen, 1.py. It's as simple as that. Now it will depend on if you have installed 3.8 correctly. Uh, you should be able to see it. Okay. All right. So I know we're still going through some minor issues here. Some people are still complaining that they haven't received the file. Some people are saying they've got it.
Just
I
share
think
the Google Drive link in the chat
you're
box.
in the
Yes, sir.
chat box, right? But that is the problem, right? If they were seeing the chat box properly, they would have gotten the file.
Yes, sir.
So if you have their email IDs or something, you can send them a mail if you like. That is another option you have. Okay. So I'm moving ahead, right? What I want to show in this slide is that I gave you a very simple program, right? This is what this program does, right? Nothing much. It has a bunch of print statements, right? But what you have to understand is that print is a function, and if you put a string inside it in double quotes, it will print it, right? So, right, we are starting very simple here. Now, what you have to see interestingly here is that this print command here is in single quotes. This is single quotes. This is single quotes, right? And in between, I have uh, a word called said, which I have it in double quotes, and it will still work, right? So important thing is that when you learn programming, so this is a program that has no mistake, right? It runs. I click on run here, it will just run, right? So the question is, what can we do to learn more? What we can do is we can remove this bracket, let's say, right? Let's make some mistakes. Uh, a lot of people, when they are young, they're not very, they're very scared that they'll make mistakes. And I'm saying that reverse should be true, that you should get used to the idea that you will make mistakes. So let's say run it now, right? Again. So now it says invalid syntax, right? And if I run it on the command line, which is a better way of learning it, I will see some more interesting things there, right? It shows me a syntax error here, right? It says invalid syntax. So we know what we deleted, we put it here, right? Now let's say we remove something here. Now let us say what will happen now. We save it and we again try it. Again, it says invalid syntax, right? Or if you try to give it here, it says invalid syntax, right? And it tells you that, at least in the, if ID, the advantage is that it will tell you the line on which probably you have a problem. So we know this is the problem, right? Okay, so let me go to the chat window again and see if people are able to follow it. Oh, people are still struggling to get the file. Is that right? So on the
फाइल इज
organizing
शेयर्ड इन
side,
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप एक बार चेक कर लो, फाइल इज देयर.
okay. So yeah, what we are saying is that we have a very simple program, and what is there in this program is a bunch of print statements, right? Print hello viewer, print hello again, right? Print today is the day of the cricket match, right? And the way you pass a string to a print function in Python is by in double quotes, or you can do in single quotes also. The advantage of single quotes is that you can have some word in between which has double quotes, right? And if you don't want any line to be executed, you can put a hash in front of it. So for example, this line Kohli has won the toss will not get execute because it has a hash against it, right? Yeah. On the organizing side, are people still having difficulties, or
सो
they have the file, or where they are
सर
right
फाइल
now?
इज अपलोडेड इन गूगल ड्राइव, सेंड इट टू व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप एंड चैट में भी आ गई है.
Okay, because you will have to keep doing this. So
यस सर, आई विल, आई विल.
I didn't realize that this would be such a big hassle. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So my question to the group is that, are you able to open this file and compile it successfully? Like this, right? And run it like this, both on the ID as well as on the command line here. Okay. So when people are saying yes, they means they are able to execute as well as they are able to have the file right now. Is that correct?
यस सर.
Okay. Because I can only do one thing. I can teach or either follow on the group chat. Okay. All right. The challenge is, who is speaking? Is that Varun or on the organizing side?
सब म्यूट पे है,
Hello.
कोई नहीं बोला आई थिंक.
No, no. What's your name on the organizing side?
हिमांशु.
Himanshu. Huh? So Himanshu, I have another,
यस सर.
what should I do? I need to upload these files, a whole bunch of them to some place so that they don't
ओके,
ask this
आई
question
एम
again and
शेयरिंग द
again.
गूगल ड्राइव लिंक, आप वहाँ पे अपलोड कर दें.
Yeah, can you share me on this thing so that I can upload it?
जस्ट अ मिनट सर.
You can send me on WhatsApp or something. I can take it from there. Or-
ओके सर, व्हाट्सएप पे भेजो.
Okay. All right. Let me do one thing. Let me send you all the files. Otherwise, you all will be struggling. So what I'll do is I'll zip this lesson one and you know, let me see now. Yeah, so I will upload it here. Himanshu, I'm uploading it here first. Okay.
Okay, sir.
If
Okay,
you
sir.
can, if you can press it, if you can put it on the Google Drive from here.
Sure, I will.
Can you do that? Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
sure, sir.
Thank you. So the entire zip file is now being sent. Okay, somebody saying that I'm not audible. I think most people can hear me. Okay. Thanks for helping out people. Please help others so that they can have their audio or whatever, because it's very hard to manage such a large group otherwise. It's an interesting tutorial, so I encourage you to please get organized so that we can take advantage of it. Okay. So commenting in Python, right? Anything you start with hash, you can comment out, right? Just like in this file, I have this line, Kohli has won the toss, right? Now this is completely, I'm using this symbol here called hash symbol, and this line will not get executed, right? You can also put a hash comment after the print statement in case you want to put some comments there. That will also not get executed. The interpreter will actually skip those comments, right? Okay. So now let's look at math operators, right? So over here, let me open a file called, just one second. I'm switching it to all files, and then you will be able to see this file called, one second, let me sort it with numbers, alphabet. It's called number.py.practice. It's not a proper Python file, right? You can type in a is equal to 14, b is equal to 3, right? And you can just put addition, subtraction, things like that. So what I want to show you is some of these things so that you get the familiarity with the operators. So let's say a is equal to 14, right? B is equal to 3. So you can simply write a plus b and you can compute like that, right? So that is the plus operator. You can type a minus b and you will see the multiplication operator, a star b, you will see the, sorry. As you can see, it didn't like the variable name as capital B because I had given small b. So every mistake that you make, there is something to be learned there, right? So like that a slash b, right? Now, some of you might think that both are integers, but look at what Python does, right? As long as you divide two integers, it immediately gives the result as floating, right? So suppose we type, there is another interesting syntax which you might not have seen before, which is like this, right? So in this case, what is happening is that it gives you the floor in the sense that the answer was really 4.66, but it truncates the anything after the decimal and gives you the integer part. So that's another way to see it. So once again, I've opened this file called numbers.py.txt or something, and that file has some of these things that I'm showing you here. You can take it from there. Now, of course, so let's say a percentage b, right? So this is modulo, right? What was the value of a? A was 14 and b was 3. So modulo gives you the remainder of the division, right? So 14 divided by 3, the remainder is 2. So like that, lots of operators are there, right? Uh, let's say this one, a star star b. So have you guys heard of a number called Google? Google is 10 to the power 100. So let us see, in many programming languages, you will not be able to compute, 10 to the power 100. You will be faced with a challenge that those programming languages are not able to accommodate such a large number. But in Python, you can see here, I put 10 star star 100, that is 10 exponent 100, and it's actually printing 100 zeros here. So these are some of the interesting things about Python, that the integer type or the floating type can take you to very, very large numbers very easily.